I'm going to introduce you to a new discipline called volitional science. This emerging field represents our civilization's first scientific attempt to understand why certain type of societies excel while others fail. It is also offering a blueprint of how to build one that will succeed. Just as one cannot argue that 2 plus 2 equals anything but 4, or that the shortest distance between 2 points is anything but a straight line, volitional science provides irrefutable truth and undeniable conclusions. Now we can finally understand why empires fell and why the United States of America, that once provided its citizens with the highest standard of living on the planet Earth, is now failing its people. But now we can say with assurance, we found the way to the stars. My name is Leon Weinstein, and I am an immigrant from the former USSR. For a long time, I have sought a system of societal relations that can ensure sustainable prosperity, create opportunities, and provide strong protection for property. And I am happy to say that I have finally found such a system. And it is grounded not in hearsay, but in real, observable, and provable science. Judge for yourself. In 1973, I was sold for about $18,000 in present-day value. The Grand Socialist state called USSR couldn't produce enough food to feed its population and crawled to the usual place where food and everything else were in abundance. The place was called the lair of capitalism. They didn't have anything to barter, so they offered people, men, women, children. The deal was negotiated, and the USSR got 1 million tons of wheat. In exchange, 50,000 Soviet citizens, mostly Jews, including myself, were stripped from all their possessions and then released and sent to the West. Let me ask you something. I bet you do not know how much you are worth. With me, it's different. My worth is well documented. If you will divide 1 million tons of wheat by 50,000 Jews, you will see that I was exchanged for 20 tons of wheat. Wholesale price, of course. 18,000 worth in today's dollars. I know what you're thinking right now. Let's send this guy back and get a refund. Tough luck. There's no such country as the Soviet Union anymore, so you are stuck with me. In 1974, following my release, I began to enjoy what you dear fellow Americans take for granted: freedom, opportunity, and yes, free market. I wrote and produced plays for children. I wrote books about political economy, worked as a guard in the women's hostel, was elected to the executive committee of the Libertarian Party here in the US, worked as a busboy in a Russian restaurant, managed a company with over 20,000 employees, befriended mayors of 2 cities, and in 1990s initiated sister city relations between Los Angeles, where I reside now, and St. Petersburg, Russia, the place of my birth. Let me tell you, after all those years of freedom, I do not want to lose it together with the country I call my home now. Looking at the disarray and craziness taking over European and American societies, I have a feel that the most developed countries on the planet, taking the same path as many nations took at the beginning of the 20th century, they ended up with gulags and shortages of everything, no, except barbed wire. Those who did it at the beginning of the 20th century can be excused because at that time there was no knowledge about what socialism brings. Now we know. There are no excuses if we let it happen again. However, I have great news for you. Unlike then, we now have a remedy. The remedy has been created here in the US by an astrophysicist and philosopher, Andrew Joseph Columbus. It is called theory of property. Columbus was as close to genius as it can be. He presented his theories of freedom and volitional science in oral lectures through his Free Enterprise Institute from 1961 to 1989 here in Los Angeles, California. The efforts halted because Columbus was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. He didn't complete his groundbreaking work, and it took years for his followers, students, and inheritors to put together his and their thoughts, notes, lectures, conversations. But now we finally have the body of work that represents first scientific analysis of the social science, making them as precise and exact as physical sciences, as precise and exact. And not only analysis, but a roadmap to a better society based on human psychology without a need to change people into angels, as all utopias, including socialism, hope to do. Back to our story. By the mid-19th century, a baptized German Jew, Karl Marx, completed a 3-volume work, Das Kapital, where he described in detail the creation of a new type of state in which anything could be legally taken from producers at any time. This idea was so appealing to thieves and opportunists that countries, one after another, took away properties from producers. The United States liberals also loved Marx. From 1852 to 1862, he was under contract with the New York Daily Tribune, writing a total of 355 articles, greatly impacting young minds of this country. Marx's roadmap was implemented many times over, and every time to a disastrous result. Societies using his theories were built everywhere. However, leaders in power quickly discovered that after eating and drinking away what they had taken from the producers, there was nothing else to consume. Marx was good at the start until money stolen from producers ran out. And then, as we saw it in the USSR, Germany, and today in North Korea, the whip comes into play and producers turn into slaves. But another discovery was made: slaves by far underproduce motivated people. The Italian Duce Benito Mussolini realized that it is not a good idea to kill milk-producing cows. Better keep them in a barn and milk endlessly. Those two scenarios, rob producers and or milk producers, were implemented in Europe, Asia, Latin America, Middle East, Africa, and everywhere in between. The producers were trying to resist, but they didn't have a roadmap of their own, one that would show how to create a society where robbing and stealing would be counterproductive. We lacked a set of rules that would make it disadvantageous to rob producers of the results of their labor. For a full century, we had this problem. But then came Columbus. 50 years after the first publication of Columbus' book, This is the Way to the Stars, I have recorded a series of videos presenting his discoveries that are as precise and exact as geometry or physics. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to embark on the most fascinating journey. We will learn how to use science to build wealth, to become the center of attention and popularity in any group of human beings, how to educate your children, create great relations with your spouse, and at the same time, how to change the future of the humanity. Not an easy, but after Galambas, a possible task. The video sessions are done in an engaging form with many historical examples and fascinating historical anecdotes. Listen and be amazed at how ingenious and simple everything Galambas teaches us is. Someone once said, everything ingenious is simple, and judging by what we learned listening to Galambas, it is 100% true. A link to the videos will be given below. I'm almost certain that the time you watch and listen to this Galambas roadmap will be your best investment in your own future and future of your family. I hope to see you soon at the opening session of the Roadmap to Freedom.